What if I told you that the stretches you've trusted for years might actually be the reason your body feels weaker after 75, not stronger? This is not fear talk. This is something orthopedic surgeons quietly warn their own families about. And if you have a parent, grandparent, or loved one over 75, please don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with them, because what you're about to hear could change how safely they move for the rest of their life. Welcome to Senior Wise Wellness, a place created to help older adults move, live, and age with strength and dignity, using science, not trends. If you care about staying independent or helping someone you love stay independent, stay with me for the next few minutes. For decades, stretching has been treated like a cure-all. Tight muscles, stretch, trouble getting out of a chair, stretch more. And when you're younger, that advice mostly works. Muscles are elastic. Tendons recover quickly. Balance systems are sharp. But after 75, the body changes in ways most people are never clearly told about. Orthopedic surgeons see this every day, not in gyms, but in clinics and emergency rooms. Seniors who stretch faithfully every morning, yet still fall. Seniors who feel looser, but also weaker. Seniors who can touch their toes, but can't catch themselves when they stumble. The problem isn't that stretching is bad. The problem is that stretching alone is no longer enough. After 75, the biggest threat to independence is not flexibility. It's loss of muscle activation, joint stability, and reaction speed. Stretching lengthens muscles, but it does not teach them to fire when you need them most. And when muscles don't fire fast enough, balance fails. When balance fails, falls happen. And after 75, a fall is not just a fall. It can be the moment life permanently changes. Surgeons often explain it this way. Think of your muscles like the brakes on a car. Stretching makes the brake pedal feel smoother, but it doesn't improve stopping power. Strength and activation are what stop the car. Without that, you may feel comfortable moving, but you're not protected. Another change that happens quietly with age is something called muscle inhibition. The brain becomes slower at sending strong signals to muscles, especially in the hips, thighs, and core. These are the muscles that keep you upright when you trip, turn, or stand up quickly. Stretching does not wake them up. In some cases, long passive stretches can actually make them temporarily weaker, especially if done before activity. This is why some seniors say, "I stretch every day, but I still feel unstable." It's not in your head. Your body is asking for something different now. What orthopedic surgeons recommend instead is not heavy weights and not exhausting workouts. It's targeted, gentle activation movements that retrain muscles to engage together. Movements that teach your legs, hips, and core to support you again. Movements that improve strength without stressing joints, and improve balance without risking a fall. These movements are often done seated or holding onto support. They look simple, almost too simple. But simplicity is exactly why they work for older bodies. They send clear signals from the brain to the muscles, reminding them how to protect you. One of the biggest mistakes seniors make is thinking pain-free equals safe. You can stretch without pain and still be losing strength underneath. Orthopedic specialists care far more about whether you can stand from a chair without using your hands, whether you can stabilize on one leg for a moment, whether your hips engage when you walk. These abilities predict independence far better than flexibility tests. And here's something most people don't realize. Once muscle activation is restored, flexibility often improves on its own. Strong, active muscles move more freely than weak, overstretched ones. So the goal is not to stop stretching forever, but to stop relying on it as your main tool. If you're over 75 or caring for someone who is, this shift in thinking matters. It's the difference between maintaining comfort and maintaining control, between feeling loose and being stable, between moving carefully and moving confidently. In the next part, I'll explain exactly what kind of movements orthopedic surgeons prioritize for seniors, why they're safer than traditional exercise, and how they protect joints while rebuilding strength. This is the information most people wish they had years earlier. If this message already made you think of someone you love, don't wait. Share this video with them now. It could help prevent a fall, an injury, or a loss of independence that no one sees coming. Orthopedic surgeons focus on one simple question when working with adults over 75. Can your body react fast enough to protect you? Not how far you can stretch, Not how many steps you walk, but how quickly and confidently your muscles turn on when life surprises you. Because life always does. Think about the last time you almost tripped, maybe on a rug, a curb, or even just turning too quickly. In that moment, you don't slowly stretch into safety. Your hips fire, your thighs tighten, your core braces, or at least they're supposed to. After 75, those reactions often become delayed, and stretching does nothing to fix that delay. That's why surgeons prioritize activation movements. These are gentle, controlled motions that tell the brain, these muscles still matter. Wake up. One of the most important areas is the hips. Weak hips are one of the strongest predictors of falls in older adults. When hips don't engage properly, balance shifts to the knees and ankles, which are smaller joints not designed to save you from a stumble. Activation movements teach the hips to support you again. For example, pressing your feet into the floor while seated and gently lifting one leg a few inches, then lowering it slowly. It doesn't look impressive, but inside the body, powerful communication is happening. The brain is reconnecting with muscles that may have been quiet for years. Another area surgeons care deeply about is the core. Not the six-pack muscles people talk about online, but the deep stabilizing muscles around the spine and pelvis. These muscles act like a seatbelt. They don't move much, but they protect you constantly. Stretching the back may feel good, but it doesn't teach these muscles to brace when you stand, turn, or reach. Simple core activation might involve sitting tall, gently tightening the abdomen as if preparing to cough, and holding for a few seconds while breathing normally. This trains stability without strain. Over time, this reduces back pain and improves balance more effectively than stretching alone. Surgeons also warn about overstretching joints that already lack stability. After 75, ligaments become less elastic. When you stretch aggressively, especially the hamstrings, calves, or lower back, you may temporarily reduce joint support. This is one reason some seniors feel shaky after a long stretching session. Their muscles are relaxed, but their joints are unprotected. Instead, controlled movement through a comfortable range is safer. Slow knee extensions, gentle heel presses, supported standing weight shifts. These movements strengthen the exact positions used in daily life. Getting out of bed, standing from a chair, turning in the kitchen, catching yourself on uneven ground. Another key concept surgeons emphasize is time under control. Fast or jerky movements increase injury risk. Activation movements are slow on purpose. The muscle is engaged, held briefly, then released. This builds endurance and coordination, not bulk. Seniors don't need big muscles. There's also a psychological shift that happens when people stop relying only on stretching. Confidence grows. When your body feels responsive instead of loose, fear of movement decreases. And fear itself is a fall risk. Many seniors move stiffly because they're afraid. Activation restores trust between the brain and the body. Walking is often brought up at this point. Surgeons agree walking is beneficial, but it's incomplete on its own. Walking is repetitive and forward-focused. It doesn't challenge SID. Decides stability, single-leg strength, or rapid correction. That's why many people who walk daily still fall at home. Activation movements fill in those gaps. They prepare the body for real-world demands, not just straight lines. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a difference when done consistently. One important note, surgeons stress is that pain is not a requirement for progress. If a movement hurts, it's not the right one. Activation should feel controlled, sometimes mildly challenging, but never sharp or alarming. Discomfort means adjust, not push. Many seniors assume it's too late to change. Surgeons strongly disagree. They see improvements well into the 80s and even 90s when the right approach is used. Muscles respond to signals at any age. They just need the right signal. In the next part, I'll walk you through how to replace part of your stretching routine with these safer activation movements, how often to do them, and how to know they're working without testing limits or risking injury. If you know someone over 75 who stretches faithfully but still struggles with balance or strength, please share this video with them and their family. This information can help them move with more control and confidence. Replacing part of a stretching routine does not mean throwing away everything you've done for years. Orthopedic surgeons rarely tell seniors to. Stop stretching completely. What they advise instead is changing the order and the priority. Activation comes first. Stretching becomes supportive, not central. Think of activation like turning the lights on in a room. Stretching is arranging the furniture. If the lights are off, you can move things around, but you're more likely to trip. Once the lights are on, everything becomes safer and more effective. A simple way surgeons suggest starting is with movements that mimic daily life. Sitting and standing is one of the most important. Many falls begin with difficulty getting out of a chair. Instead of stretching the legs before standing, surgeons recommend gently activating them first, pressing both feet into the floor, tightening the thighs, and slowly standing up using as little hand support as needed, then sitting back down under control. This trains strength, balance, and coordination all at once. Another key movement is weight shifting. While holding onto a counter or sturdy chair, gently shift your weight from one foot to the other. This reteaches your body how to control side-to-side motion, something walking does not address well. Stretching cannot replicate this skill, but activation can. Breathing also plays a larger role than most people expect. Shallow breathing weakens core activation. Surgeons often coach seniors to breathe slowly through the nose Y. Lay engaging the abdomen gently. This improves stability and reduces tension. Many people stretch while holding their breath without realizing it, which limits benefit and increases stiffness afterward. Frequency matters more than intensity. 5 to 10 minutes daily is far more effective than one long session once a week. The nervous system responds best to regular reminders. This is why short, consistent activation routines often outperform longer exercise programs for seniors. How do you know it's working? Surgeons look for practical signs, not dramatic ones. Standing feels easier. You feel steadier when turning. You rely less on furniture for support. Getting out of bed takes fewer steps. These are quiet improvements, but they matter more than flexibility milestones. It's also important to understand that soreness is not a goal. Activation may create mild fatigue, but it should fade quickly. Persistent soreness means the movements are too intense or poorly matched to your current ability. Adjustments are part of the process, not failure. Many seniors worry about joint damage. This approach is designed specifically to protect joints. Activation strengthens the muscles that absorb force, reducing stress on knees, hips, and the lower back. Stretching alone often increases joint motion without increasing joint protection. Orthopedic surgeons frequently see patients who stretch diligently but never trained their muscles to support that new range. The result is instability. Activation closes that gap. It teaches the body to control the range it already has. There's also an emotional benefit. Regaining control restores dignity. Seniors often describe feeling capable again. That feeling encourages movement, and movement preserves independence. It's a positive cycle. If you've been stretching for years and feel frustrated that it hasn't stopped weakness or balance loss, you're not doing anything wrong. You were just never given the full picture. Medical understanding evolves, and this shift toward activation reflects what surgeons see in real bodies, not just textbooks. In the next part, I'll explain common mistakes seniors make when trying to add activation movements, what to avoid, and how to keep these movements safe even if you have arthritis, joint replacements, or limited mobility. Before moving on, think of one person who might benefit from this information. A parent, a grandparent, a neighbor. Share this video with them and their family. Knowledge shared early can prevent pain later. When seniors begin adding activation movements, the biggest mistake orthopedic surgeons see is doing too much, too fast. After years of being told to push, stretch deeper, or hold longer, it feels natural to apply the same mindset here. But activation works best when it feels almost underwhelming at first. Subtle is powerful. Another common mistake is rushing through the movements. Speed reduces awareness, and awareness is what retrains the nervous system. Slow, deliberate motion gives the brain time to reconnect with the muscles. If a movement feels sloppy or uncontrolled, slowing down often fixes it immediately. Many seniors also assume that if a movement feels easy, it isn't helping. Surgeons strongly disagree. Easy does not mean ineffective. If the correct muscles are engaging, the work is being done internally. Progress comes from consistency, not strain. Arthritis is another concern that causes hesitation. The good news is that activation movements are often recommended specifically for arthritic joints. Strong muscles reduce joint load. The key is staying within a pain-free range. Pain is a signal to modify, not quit. Even very small movements can activate muscles without aggravating joints. For those with knee replacements or hip replacements, surgeons emphasize alignment and support. Using a chair, counter, or rail is not a weakness. It's smart. Stability allows proper muscle engagement. Over time, as strength improves, support can be reduced naturally. Balance fear is very real after 75. Many seniors avoid movement because they're afraid of falling during exercise. Activation addresses this fear by keeping movements grounded and controlled. Most can be done seated or holding on to something solid. Confidence grows as the body proves it can handle small challenges safely. Another mistake is ignoring rest. Muscles need recovery, especially aging muscles. Activation does not mean non-stop activity all day. Short sessions with breaks in between are ideal. Rest is when the nervous system integrates what it learned. Hydration and nutrition also matter more than most people realize. Dehydrated muscles fatigue quickly and respond poorly. Adequate protein supports muscle repair even at older ages. Surgeons often remind seniors that movement and nutrition work together. One without the other limits progress. Footwear is another overlooked factor. Supportive shoes improve activation by providing a stable base. Slippery socks or worn-out shoes reduce feedback from the ground, making balance harder. Something as simple as changing footwear can improve how activation feels. One of the most encouraging things surgeons observe is how quickly improvements can begin. Some seniors notice changes within a couple of weeks, not dramatic transformations, but meaningful ones. Standing feels steadier. Turning feels smoother. Fatigue decreases. This approach also reduces reliance on pain medications. When muscles support joints properly, discomfort often lessens. Movement becomes a tool for relief rather than something to avoid. Family involvement helps too. When family members understand that stretching alone is not enough, they can encourage safer movement habits. Watching a loved one regain confidence is powerful. It shifts conversations from limitation to possibility. If you rear caring for someone over 75, patience matters. Progress may be slow, but it is real. Celebrate small wins. Independence is built quietly. In the final part, I'll bring everything together, explain how to balance stretching and activation long-term, and share how this shift protects independence as the years continue. If this message feels important, please share it with seniors and family members who care about them. The right information at the right time can change the path of aging. Balancing stretching and activation over the long term is about understanding roles. Stretching becomes a gentle support tool, not the foundation. Activation becomes the daily habit that protects independence. Orthopedic surgeons often describe it as earning your stretch. You activate first so the body is stable. Then you stretch lightly to maintain comfort. A simple rhythm many surgeons recommend is this: wake the muscles, move through daily tasks, then stretch briefly if it feels helpful. This order respects how the aging nervous system works. Muscles that are awake respond better, joints that are supported move more safely. Over time, many seniors naturally reduce how much stretching they feel they need. As muscles regain strength and coordination, stiffness often decreases on its own. This surprises people who believed tightness was the main problem. In reality, weakness and poor activation often create the feeling of tightness. Independence after 75 is less about doing more and more about doing what matters. Being able to get up from the floor if needed. Carry groceries without fear. Turn quickly when someone calls your name. These are not gym goals. They are life goals. Orthopedic surgeons measure success differently than fitness influencers. They look at whether a patient avoids surgery, avoids falls, avoids loss of mobility. Activation-focused movement supports all three. It builds resilience quietly without drawing attention to itself. Another long-term benefit is energy conservation. When muscles work efficiently, daily activities require less effort. Seniors often report feeling less tired, not because they're doing less, but because their bodies are working smarter. There's also a powerful mental shift. When movement feels safe, people move more. When people move more, circulation improves, sleep improves, mood improves. Everything becomes connected again. Stretching alone rarely creates this chain reaction. Consistency remains the most important factor. Missing a day is not failure. Returning the next day is success. The nervous system responds to patterns, not perfection. Gentle reminders build lasting change. It's also important to adapt as the body changes. What works this year may need adjustment next year. That's Raymall. Aging is not static. Listening to the body becomes a skill. Activation teaches that skill by encouraging awareness rather than force. For families, understanding this approach can change how you support loved ones. Encouraging safe movement instead of overprotection preserves ability. Fear-based restriction often accelerates decline. Knowledge empowers better choices. If you're watching this for yourself, know this: it is not too late. Surgeons see progress in people who were told nothing could be done. Muscles respond at any age when given the right signal. The body is adaptable longer than most people believe. If you're watching for someone else, your role matters. Sharing information, offering encouragement, and respecting autonomy make a difference. Aging well is not about control, it's about support. At SeniorWise Wellness, the goal is simple: help older adults understand their bodies, move with confidence, and protect the independence they've earned. No extremes, no fear, just science, clarity, and respect for where you are today. If this video changed how you think about stretching and movement after 75, please share it with seniors and family members who care about them. This information is too important to keep to yourself. If there is one message to take with you today, let it be this: aging does not mean giving up control over your body. It means changing how you care for it. Stretching helped you once, and it still has a place, but after 75, safety, strength, and stability come from waking the muscles that protect you every single day. Quietly, gently, consistently. Orthopedic surgeons don't worry about how flexible you look. They worry about whether you can recover from a misstep, stand up without fear, and move through your home with confidence. That kind of protection doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from smarter movement. If you felt frustrated, shaky, or confused about why your body doesn't respond the way it used to, know this wasn't your fault. You were never told what actually changes with age. Now you know. And knowledge gives you options. At SeniorWise Wellness, everything we share is built around one goal: helping you stay independent, capable, and confident for as long as possible, without extremes, without fear, and without risking injury. Aging wisely means choosing what truly serves your body now, not what worked decades ago. If this video helped you see movement differently, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a parent, a grandparent, a partner, or a friend. One shared video can prevent a fall, a fracture, or a loss of independence that no one sees coming. Your body is still listening. Speak to it kindly. Move with purpose. And remember, it's never too late to move in a way that protects the life you want to keep living.